The words terminal cancer have a funny way of making everything else sound like white noise. My name is Abigail, and I'm 32 years old. 3 hours ago, I was just another woman sitting in a sterile oncologist's office, picking at my cuticles and wondering if the receptionist's fake smile was part of her job training. Now I'm staring at my phone, trying to figure out how to tell my family that I'm dying. The call to Mum goes exactly how you'd expect. "Abby, honey, you sound strange. What's wrong?" "Mum, I need to tell you something. I just came from Dr. Martinez's office and—" "Oh my God!" Her voice drops to that theatrical whisper she uses when she wants to sound concerned, but also wants the neighbours to hear. "What did he say?" "It's cancer, Mum. Stage 4. He's giving me maybe 6 months." The silence stretches so long, I check to see if the call dropped. Then I hear her sharp intake of breath, followed by what sounds like her sitting down hard. "Cancer? But you're so young. Are you sure? Did you get a second opinion?" "I'm sure, Mum." "Oh, sweetheart." Now she's crying, and part of me feels guilty for being so blunt. "We need to get you the best doctors, the best treatment. Money is no object." There it is. 3 minutes into the worst news of my life, and we're already talking about money. "I'm going to call your father right now, and Ella, we're coming over." "Mum, you don't have to—" "Don't be ridiculous. Family sticks together. We're going to take care of you." She hangs up before I can respond, and I'm left staring at my phone in the parking lot of the medical building, wondering why her promise of care feels more like a threat. They arrive within the hour, armed with tissues and takeout from my favourite Thai place. Dad gives me one of his awkward side hugs, the kind where he pats my shoulder twice and steps back like I might be contagious. Ella, my younger sister, immediately starts crying harder than I did when I got the news. "This is so unfair," she sobs, mascara streaming down her cheeks. "You're the good one. You're the one who always does everything right." I want to point out that being good apparently doesn't make you immune to cancer, but I just hand her another tissue. "What are the treatment options?" Dad asks, settling into my kitchen chair like he's preparing for a business meeting. "There are some experimental trials, but they're expensive. Insurance won't cover most of it." Mum and Dad exchange one of those looks, the kind married couple's perfect after decades together. It lasts maybe 2 seconds, but I catch it. "How expensive?" Mum asks. "Potentially hundreds of thousands?" Another look. This one longer. "Well," Mum says, smoothing her hair, "we'll figure it out. That's what families do. But first, we need to make sure all your affairs are in order." "My affairs?" "Legal stuff, honey. Power of attorney, medical directives, just in case." Ella looks up from her tissue pile. "Mum's right. What if you can't make decisions for yourself? What if you're too sick?" The conversation shifts into practical mode so fast it makes my head spin. Suddenly we're talking about wills and bank accounts and who should have access to what. They make it sound so reasonable, so loving, just family looking out for family. "I don't know," I say. "It feels premature." "Abby," Dad says in his gentle but firm voice, the one he used when I was 16 and wanted to go to that party. "This isn't about giving up hope. This is about being smart, being prepared. Think about it this way," Ella adds, reaching for my hand. "If something happens and we can't help you because of legal red tape, how awful would that be?" They stay for 3 more hours, and by the time they leave, I've agreed to meet with their lawyer tomorrow. They hug me extra tight at the door, and Mum whispers, "We're going to make sure you have the most beautiful last Christmas, sweetheart, whatever it takes." After they're gone, I pour myself a glass of wine and sit on my couch, trying to process everything. My phone buzzes with a text from Mum. "Already called the lawyer, 10 a.m. tomorrow, love you so much." I'm about to respond when I hear her voice through my thin apartment walls. She must be on the phone in the hallway. I know, it's terrible. But Linda, you should see the kitchen in that house we looked at last month. The marble countertops alone would be worth it, and with the insurance money—" Her voice fades as she walks away, but the words hang in the air like smoke. Insurance money. I set down my wine and stare at the wall, wondering if I heard what I think I heard. The lawyer's office smells like leather and false promises. This is really just a formality, Mum says, squeezing my hand as we sit across from Mr. Henderson, a man whose smile is as polished as his mahogany desk. We want to make sure you're protected. The power of attorney documents are already printed and waiting. Henderson slides them across the desk like he's dealing cards. Standard stuff, he says. Medical decisions, financial management, property oversight. Your parents will be able to handle everything if you become incapacitated. What exactly does financial management include? I ask. Access to accounts, investment decisions, bill paying. Essentially, they can act on your behalf in all monetary matters. Dad clears his throat. We've already discussed this, Abby. We're not going to touch anything unless it's absolutely necessary. I sign the papers. What choice do I have? 2 weeks later, I'm standing in what used to be my parents' modest kitchen, watching contractors rip out perfectly good cabinets. Surprise! Mom beams, gesturing at the chaos. We decided to finally do the renovation we've been talking about for years. Now? I ask, dodging a worker carrying a sledgehammer. Well, we figured with everything going on, we should make the house perfect for when you come stay with us during treatment. Ella appears from the living room holding fabric samples. Wait until you see the marble we picked out. It's imported from Italy. Italian marble? Only the best for our girl, Dad says, but he won't meet my eyes. I watch them for the next hour, discussing crown moulding and wine fridges with the enthusiasm of people who just won the lottery. When I mention that I should probably start looking into those experimental treatments, Mum waves me off. Don't worry about that right now, honey. Let's focus on making you comfortable first. 3 days later, I'm on the phone with my bank. I'm sorry, Mum, but your savings account shows a balance of $47. That's impossible. I had over $200,000 in that account. Let me check. Yes, there were several large withdrawals over the past 2 weeks, all authorised by your power of attorney holders. My hands shake as I hang up. I call Mum immediately. Oh, sweetheart, don't worry about that. We moved the money to better investments. You know how terrible savings account interest rates are. What investments? The house renovation for one. Think of it as improving your inheritance, and we put some aside for your medical expenses. How much? A pause. Well, the kitchen alone was $80,000, but it's going to be gorgeous. And we got you that adjustable bed for the guest room, the good kind, with the massage feature. Mum, I need that money for treatment. Honey, we researched those experimental treatments. They're basically scams. Dr. Martinez said the standard treatment is just as good. Dr. Martinez said the standard treatment would buy me maybe a few extra months. A few months is still time, Abby, time we can spend together as a family. I hang up and immediately call the treatment center in Arizona. The receptionist's voice is kind but firm. I'm sorry, but we require payment up front. The program costs $150,000. I had the money. My family has access to my accounts. Would you like me to hold your spot for a few days while you sort it out? Yes, please. That evening, I drive to my parents' house. The kitchen is a war zone of exposed pipes and drywall dust, but I can see the beginnings of something that belongs in a magazine spread. Isn't it beautiful? Mum asks, running her hand along a piece of marble that probably cost more than my car. Mum, I need you to transfer money back to my account for the treatment. Oh, honey. She exchanges that look with Dad again. We can't just undo everything now. The contractors have already been paid. Not all of it, just enough for the treatment. Ella walks in, carrying shopping bags from high-end stores. What treatment? The experimental one in Arizona. Abby, Ella says, setting down her bags, you need to be realistic. You're going to die anyway. What's the point of throwing money at some desperate last-ditch effort? The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually step backward. What did you just say? I mean, wouldn't you rather spend your last months here with us in a beautiful space? We're creating memories. With my money. It's not like you're going to need it, she continues, pulling a designer dress from one of her bags. At least this way, it's going to something meaningful, something that will last. Dad finally speaks up. Girls, let's not fight. I'm not fighting, I say, my voice eerily calm. I'm just trying to understand how my death became a home improvement opportunity. That's not fair, Mum says, tears starting. Everything we're doing is for you. The Italian marble is for me? The house will be your legacy, Abby, something beautiful to remember you by. I look around at the destruction and renovation, at my family's excited faces, at the shopping bags full of things they bought with my money while I'm supposed to be dying. I need some air, I say. Outside, I sit in my car and call the treatment centre back. I'm sorry, I tell the receptionist. I won't be able to make the payment. I understand. I'm sorry. As I hang up, I see Ella through the window, modelling her new dress for Mum and Dad. They're all laughing, surrounded by the ruins of their old kitchen and the promise of their new one, built with my death money. The first friend I call is Sarah from college. Oh my God, Abby, I'm so sorry. I've been meaning to reach out, but I just don't know what to say in these situations, you know? I was hoping maybe we could grab coffee sometime. I could really use... Actually, I'm super busy with the new baby and work is crazy, but I'll definitely call you soon, okay? She doesn't call. Next is Marcus from my old job. The conversation lasts exactly 90 seconds before he remembers he has a dentist appointment he absolutely cannot miss. By the fourth call, I stop pretending I'm surprised. Terminal illness is apparently contagious in the social sense. People scatter like roaches when the lights come on. The only person who answers and actually wants to talk is Paige, my neighbour from 2 apartments down. Are you kidding me? She says when I tell her about my family's renovation project. They spent your treatment money on a kitchen? Italian marble, I say, stirring my coffee. We're sitting in her living room, which is cluttered but warm, the opposite of my parents' sterile showcase. That's not family, Abby, that's vultures. They keep saying it's for me, for my legacy. Your legacy should be you being alive. I laugh, but it comes out bitter. Try telling them that. Paige leans forward. What if there were other options? Other ways to get treatment? Like what? Rob a bank? Clinical trials, charity programs. There are foundations that help people in situations like yours. I looked into some of that. The waiting lists are years long, and most require you to exhaust all other financial options first. What about the ones that don't? That night, Paige comes over with her laptop and a bottle of wine. We spend hours scrolling through medical websites and foundation pages. Look at this one, she says, pointing to the screen. The Morrison Foundation. They fund experimental treatments for people who've been denied by insurance. Says here they only accept 20 patients per year. So apply. What's the worst that could happen? They could say no. They're already saying no by not knowing you exist. We fill out the application together. It's extensive, medical records, financial statements, personal essays. The financial part is embarrassing. I have to explain how I went from having a substantial savings account to being broke in 2 weeks. Your family really did a number on you, Paige says, reading over my shoulder. They think they're helping. They think they're helping themselves. 3 days later, I get a call from Mum. Abby, honey, we need to talk. Can you come over? The kitchen renovation is nearly complete. The marble countertops gleam under expensive pendant lights, and the new appliances look like they belong in a restaurant. It's beautiful, isn't it? Mum says, running her hand along the island. It's something. We have some exciting news. Ella found this amazing resort in Cabo. We thought it would be perfect for a family trip. One last vacation together. Ella bounces on her toes. It's all-inclusive, spa treatments, private beach, the works. How much? I ask. Don't worry about that, Dad says quickly. How much? 15,000, but it's for all of us, and it includes everything. 15,000 of my money. Abby, Mum's voice takes on that patient tone she uses when she thinks I'm being unreasonable. This is about making memories, about spending quality time together while we still can. While I still can, you mean? Don't be morbid. I'm not being morbid, I'm being realistic. That 15,000 could go toward treatment. What treatment? Ella asks. You said yourself you couldn't afford the experimental stuff. I'm looking into other options. Like what? Charity programs, clinical trials. Mum and Dad exchange another one of their looks. Honey, Mum says gently, those programs are for people who really can't afford treatment. We don't want to take resources away from people who actually need them. I actually need them. You have family support. That's more than most people have. Family support that spent my treatment money on countertops. That's not fair, Ella snaps. We're trying to make your last month special. By bankrupting me? You're being dramatic. The argument escalates until I'm shouting and they're crying, and nothing gets resolved except that I storm out and they book the Cabo trip anyway. 2 weeks later, I get a rejection letter from the Morrison Foundation. Standard form letter, probably sent to hundreds of people. I'm crumpling it up when my phone rings. Unknown number. Is this Abigail? Yes. My name is Dr. Patricia Williams. I work with the Morrison Foundation. We received your application. I got the rejection letter. That was a mistake. We'd like to discuss your case further. Are you available to talk? I sit down hard on my couch. Yes, I'm available. Good. There's someone who specifically requested to review your file. Someone who knows your family situation. Can you meet tomorrow? Who requested it? I think it's better if she explains that herself. Can you come to our office at 10 a.m? After I hang up, I stare at the rejection letter in my hand. Someone knows my family situation. Someone specifically requested my file. I call Paige. Someone's watching out for you, she says, after I tell her about the call. But who? Guess you'll find out tomorrow. The Morrison Foundation office is nothing like I expected. Instead of sterile medical building vibes, it's housed in a converted Victorian home with comfortable chairs and actual artwork on the walls. Dr. Williams is a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Thank you for coming, Abigail. Please sit down. You said someone specifically requested my file? Yes, but first let me explain what we do here. We provide funding for experimental treatments that show promise, but aren't covered by traditional insurance. We also help patients relocate temporarily for treatment when necessary. Relocate? Sometimes the best treatment centres are far from home. We provide housing, living expenses, complete support systems. She slides a folder across the desk. This particular program is in Seattle. Cutting-edge immunotherapy. The success rates are encouraging. I open the folder. The treatment plan is comprehensive, aggressive, and expensive. Very expensive. Who's funding this? An anonymous donor. Someone who specifically requested that we reach out to you. I don't understand. Dr. Williams leans forward. Abigail, this donor knows about your family situation. They know about the power of attorney issues and the financial complications. They want to help. But who? I can't reveal their identity, but I can tell you that they've covered everything. Treatment, housing, living expenses for up to 2 years. All you have to do is say yes. I stare at the papers. 2 years of life, maybe more. A real chance. There's one condition, Dr. Williams continues. For the treatment to be most effective, you need to minimize stress. That means limited contact with people who might complicate your recovery. You mean my family? I mean anyone who might interfere with your healing process. I think about Mum's latest text, asking when I want to leave for Cabo, about Ella's Instagram posts showing off the new kitchen, about Dad's silence every time I bring up treatment options. When would I start? Next week if you're ready. I sign the papers. The hardest part is lying to Paige, but Dr. Williams insists that the fewer people who know my real location, the better. I'm going to stay with my cousin in Portland for a while, I tell her as she helps me pack. Get some space from my family. Good for you. They've been toxic through this whole thing. Will you keep an eye on things here? Maybe check my mail? Of course. But Abby, promise me you'll stay in touch. I promise. The treatment centre in Seattle is everything Dr. Williams promised. The staff is incredible, the facility is state-of-the-art, and my apartment is small but comfortable. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. The treatment itself is brutal. The immunotherapy makes me sicker than I've ever been, but Dr. Rodriguez, my oncologist, says that's a good sign. Your immune system is waking up, she explains during one of my better days. It's learning to fight. Meanwhile, my family's social media tells a different story. Mum posts pictures of their Cabo vacation with captions like "making memories while we still can" and "family is everything." Ella shares photos of herself in designer swimwear with hashtags like "new family first" and "blessed." The comments are nauseating. Friends and neighbours offering prayers and support for their difficult time. People praising them for staying strong and making the best of a tragic situation. Not one person asks where I am. After 3 months of treatment, my scans show improvement. Not a miracle, but real, measurable progress. Dr. Rodriguez is cautiously optimistic. "We're going to continue the protocol," she says. "Your body is responding well." That night, I'm checking my email when I see a message from an address I don't recognise. The subject line reads, "Unfinished business." I almost delete it, thinking it's spam, but something makes me click. "Abigail, I hope this finds you well and recovering. I know you don't know me, but I know you. I know what our family did to you, and I want to help make it right. I've been away for a long time, but I'm coming home soon. We have a lot to discuss." Aunt Jacqueline. I stare at the screen. Aunt Jacqueline, Mum's older sister, the one who disappeared from family gatherings when I was a teenager, the one whose name makes Mum's face go tight whenever someone mentions her. I type back quickly, "How did you find me?" The response comes within minutes. "I've been keeping track of things, more than you know. Are you somewhere safe?" "Yes." "Good. Stay there. I'll be in touch soon. And Abigail, don't tell anyone about this email. Not yet." I close the laptop and sit back in my chair. Outside my window, Seattle's skyline glitters in the evening light. For months I felt completely alone, abandoned by everyone who was supposed to care about me. But someone has been watching, someone has been helping, and now someone wants to settle accounts. I think about my family, probably posting more vacation photos right now, spending my money and playing the grieving relatives for social media sympathy. They have no idea what's coming. Jacqueline looks nothing like I remember. The woman sitting across from me in the Seattle coffee shop is polished, professional, wearing a tailored blazer and carrying a leather briefcase that screams federal government. The last time I saw her, she was storming out of Christmas dinner after a screaming match with Mum about family loyalty. "You look good, Abby, healthier than your family thinks." "How do you know what my family thinks?" She opens her briefcase and pulls out a tablet. "Because I've been monitoring their communications for the past 6 months. "Monitoring?" "I'm a senior investigator for the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. White-collar crime, specifically elder abuse and financial exploitation." She slides the tablet toward me. "Your case landed on my desk through the Morrison Foundation's fraud alert system." The screen shows a detailed timeline of my bank transactions, starting from the day I signed the power of attorney. $80,000 for kitchen renovation, $15,000 for a Cabo vacation, $12,000 for what appears to be a shopping spree, $25,000 for a down payment on a new car for Ella. Jacqueline scrolls through the list. "All withdrawn within weeks of gaining access to your accounts." They said it was for my care. A massage bed that cost $3,000 hardly qualifies as medical care. I study the timeline. Seeing it all laid out like this, the pattern is obvious. "This is why you funded my treatment." The Morrison Foundation has a discretionary fund for cases involving financial abuse. When I saw your application and realised you were my niece, I made some calls. "Why didn't you contact me sooner?" Jacqueline's expression hardens. "Because I needed evidence, solid, prosecutable evidence, and because I needed you safe and away from them while I built the case." She opens another file on the tablet. "This is where it gets interesting. 3 weeks ago, your mother attempted to liquidate your remaining investment account, the one they haven't touched yet." I have another account. Your grandmother's trust fund. It's been sitting there since you turned 30, gaining interest, about $40,000. Mum tried to access it. She forged your signature on the withdrawal forms badly. The bank flagged it as suspicious and contacted my office. I stare at the forged signature. It's clearly Mum's handwriting, but she tried to make it look like mine. That's a federal crime, Jacqueline continues. Wire fraud, forgery, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. We're talking serious jail time. What do you want me to do? I want you to help me finish building this case, but more than that, I want to give you the chance to confront them, on your terms. She shows me another document. Your family has been telling everyone you're dying, posting about it constantly, accepting sympathy, and even some donations from your community. But here's the thing. They haven't actually checked on you in months. They think I'm in Portland with my cousin. They think you're dying in Portland with your cousin. Your mother has been planning your funeral. The words hit like ice water. What? She's been meeting with funeral directors, picking out caskets, even choosing flowers, all while posting about how brave she's being during this difficult time. Jacqueline pulls up Mum's Facebook page. The posts are a masterclass in performative grief. Photos of sunsets with captions like, "Thinking of our angel tonight." Pictures of the renovated kitchen with Abby would have loved this space. She's been getting a lot of attention, Jacqueline says. Sympathy, donations, even a feature in the local newspaper about a mother's love during tragedy. This is insane. It gets worse. They've started planning a celebration of life event. Ella created a GoFundMe for it. They've raised $8,000 so far. I scroll through the GoFundMe page. Pictures of me from years ago, descriptions of my brave battle, requests for donations to honour Abby's memory with the beautiful service she deserves. They're crowdfunding my funeral while I'm still alive and pocketing the money. The event they're planning costs maybe $2,000. The rest is going straight into their accounts. I close the tablet and lean back in my chair. What's your plan? We let them dig the hole deeper. I've been documenting everything, every transaction, every lie, every forged document, but I need your help for the final piece, which is, they need to believe you're actually dying. We need them to come see you, to make one final attempt to tie up loose ends, and when they do, we spring the trap. What kind of trap? Jacqueline smiles, and for the first time I see the family resemblance. It's not a nice smile. The kind where they walk into a room expecting to find a dying woman and instead find a federal investigator with enough evidence to put them all in prison. When? Soon. Your mother has been getting increasingly anxious about your condition. She's been calling hospitals in Portland, trying to track you down. She's worried about that trust fund, about making sure all the legal paperwork is in order before you die. She wants to make sure she gets everything. Exactly. So we're going to give her exactly what she wants. One last visit with her dying daughter. Jacqueline closes her briefcase and stands up. Are you ready to come back from the dead, Abby? I think about the kitchen renovation, the Cabo vacation, the funeral GoFundMe, the forged signatures. I think about months of feeling abandoned and betrayed while they spent my money and planned my memorial service. I'm ready. Good, because your family is about to learn that some debts can't be paid with other people's money. The plan is simple, too simple, which makes me nervous. You'll be staying at a private care facility, Jacqueline explains as we drive through the outskirts of Portland. It's actually a safe house we use for witness protection, but it looks like a hospice from the outside. And you'll be there as my nurse? Nurse practitioner. I have the credentials. I worked in healthcare before joining FinCEN. Your family will see exactly what they expect to see, their dying daughter and her caregiver. The facility looks perfect for our purposes. Sterile hallways, medical equipment, the faint smell of disinfectant. Jacqueline has thought of everything. The room is wired for audio and video, she says, showing me the hidden cameras. Everything they say will be recorded. What if they don't take the bait? They will. Your mother has been calling every hospital in Portland for 2 weeks. She's desperate to find you. That evening, Jacqueline sends the text from my phone. Mum, I'm in a care facility in Portland. The doctors say it's time. Can you come? The response comes within minutes. On our way. Hold on, sweetheart. They arrive the next morning, all 3 of them, carrying flowers and wearing their best grieving family expressions. I'm in the hospital bed, makeup carefully applied to make me look gaunt and weak. Jacqueline is in scrubs, playing her role perfectly. Oh, my baby, Mum rushes to the bedside, tears already flowing. You look so thin. The treatment didn't work, I whisper, keeping my voice weak. Dad hangs back by the door, uncomfortable as always with emotional displays. Ella sits in the visitor chair, her phone already out, probably planning her Instagram post about this touching family moment. We brought you something, Mum says, pulling out a tablet. We wanted to show you the kitchen. It's finally finished. She scrolls through photos of their renovation, narrating each detail like she's giving a house tour. The marble countertops, the custom cabinets, the wine fridge. It's beautiful, isn't it? We did it all for you, honey, so you'd have something beautiful to remember. It must have been expensive, I say. Don't worry about that. We used your money wisely. Every penny went toward making something lasting. Jacqueline, still in character as my nurse, steps forward. I'm sorry, but visiting hours are limited. The patient needs rest. Of course, Mum says. We understand, but before we go, there are some papers we need Abby to sign. Here it comes. Dad finally speaks up, pulling documents from his briefcase. Just some final arrangements, sweetheart, making sure everything is handled properly. I pretend to read through the papers, but I already know what they are. Transfer documents for the trust fund, a new will leaving everything to them, forms to close my remaining accounts. I don't understand some of this legal language, I say weakly. It's just standard stuff, Ella says, not looking up from her phone, making sure we can handle your affairs after I die. Don't say that, Mum scolds, but she's pushing the pen toward my hand. Just sign where it's highlighted. I'm about to sign when Jacqueline's phone buzzes loudly. She checks it and frowns. I'm sorry, but there's been a development with the patient's care plan. I need to step out and make some calls. She leaves the room, and immediately the family's demeanour changes. Finally, Ella mutters. That nurse has been hovering all morning. Sign quickly, Mum says, her voice losing its gentle tone. Before she comes back. What's the rush? I ask. There's no rush, honey. We just want to make sure everything is taken care of. Dad clears his throat. Actually, Abby, there's something we need to discuss. The trust fund account. What about it? The bank has been asking questions about some paperwork we submitted. My heart races, but I keep my voice steady. What kind of questions? They're claiming the signature didn't match their records, Mum says, her face flushing. It's ridiculous. Banks make mistakes all the time. You tried to access the trust fund? We were just trying to consolidate your accounts, Dad says quickly. Make things easier to manage. By forging my signature? The room goes dead silent. Ella finally looks up from her phone. That's a serious accusation, Mum says, her voice ice cold. Is it an accusation if it's true? Abby, you're not thinking clearly. The medication, the stress. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. You forged my signature to steal money from an account you didn't even know I had. We didn't steal anything, Ella snaps. We're your family. We're entitled to... Entitled to what? My death money? You're being dramatic, Mum says. Everything we've done has been for you. The kitchen renovation was for me. The Cabo vacation was for me. The GoFundMe for my funeral was for me. Dad's face goes white. How do you know about you planning my funeral while I'm still alive? About you raising money for a memorial service and pocketing the cash? You don't understand, Mum says, but her voice is shaking now. We've been under so much stress. The medical bills, the emotional toll. What medical bills? You haven't paid for any of my treatment. We've been supporting you emotionally. That has value. Apparently it has a dollar amount, about $200,000, give or take. The door opens and Jacqueline walks back in, but she's no longer wearing scrubs. She's in a business suit, carrying her federal ID. Sorry for the interruption, she says, her voice completely different now, professional, authoritative. I'm Agent Jacqueline Mason, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Mum's face goes from red to white in seconds. Jackie? Hello, Denise. It's been a while. Ella looks confused. Who is this? Your aunt, Jacqueline says, pulling out her badge, and the federal agent who's been investigating your family for financial crimes. Dad tries to stand, but his legs seem to give out. This is a setup. This is justice, Jacqueline says, placing a thick folder on the bedside table. And you just confessed to multiple felonies on federal recording equipment. Mum stares at me, and for the first time in months, she's speechless. Surprise, I say, sitting up in bed. I'm not dying, but your freedom might be. The silence in the room is deafening. Mum stares at me like I'm a ghost, which I suppose I am in a way. Ella's mouth hangs open, her phone forgotten in her lap. Dad has gone completely grey. This isn't possible, Mum whispers. You're dying. The doctor said I had 6 months without treatment, I say, throwing off the hospital blanket and standing up. Turns out, when you actually use the money for treatment instead of kitchen renovations, medicine works pretty well. Jacqueline opens the folder and spreads documents across the bedside table like she's dealing cards. Let's start with the basics. Wire fraud, forgery, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, and my personal favourite, charity fraud. Charity fraud. Ella finally finds her voice. The GoFundMe for Abby's funeral, $8,000 raised under false pretences. That's federal wire fraud. She was dying, Mum says, but her voice cracks. We thought she was dying. You thought wrong, and even if she was, taking money donated for funeral expenses and spending it on vacations is still fraud. Dad tries to stand again, this time successfully. We need a lawyer. You need several lawyers, Jacqueline says, but first let's finish our conversation. She pulls out her tablet and starts reading. $80,000 for home renovation, $15,000 for a Cabo vacation, $12,000 in retail purchases, $25,000 for a car down payment, $3,000 for a massage bed that was supposedly for Abby's medical care but was actually installed in your master bedroom. How do you know about the bed? Ella asks. Because I've been watching you for months. Every purchase, every transaction, every social media post about your brave journey through your daughter's illness. Mum's tears have stopped. Now she just looks angry. You had no right to spy on us. I had every right. Financial crimes against vulnerable adults are my specialty. Abby wasn't vulnerable. She signed the power of attorney willingly, under duress, while facing a terminal diagnosis after you manipulated her into believing you would use the money for her care. Jacqueline's voice is ice cold. That's textbook exploitation. We are her family, Dad says, finally finding some backbone. We had every right to make decisions for her. You had the right to make medical decisions and pay her bills. You didn't have the right to steal her life savings. It wasn't stealing, Ella snaps. She was going to die anyway. What was she going to do with the money? Live, I say simply. I was going to use it to live. But you are living, Mum says, grasping at straws. So what's the problem? The problem is that I'm only living because a federal agent happened to be my aunt and happened to have access to discretionary funds for fraud victims. Without that, I'd be dead right now. But you're not dead. No thanks to you. Jacqueline pulls out another document. This is where it gets really interesting. The forged signature on the trust fund withdrawal. She slides a paper across to Mom. This is your signature, Denise. You didn't even try to make it look like Abby's handwriting. Mum stares at the document. I was under stress. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were thinking clearly enough to research the account, forge the paperwork, and submit it to the bank. We needed the money. For what? For expenses. What expenses? Your mortgage is paid off, your car is paid off, you have no debt except the credit cards you maxed out buying furniture for your renovation. Dad sits back down heavily. What happens now? Now you get arrested, Jacqueline says matter-of-factly. Wire fraud carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult is another 10. The charity fraud adds another 5. 35 years. Ella's voice is barely a whisper. Each. These are separate charges. Mum starts crying again, but this time it's different. These aren't manipulative tears or performative grief. This is pure panic. Please, she says, we'll pay it back, every penny. With what money? I ask. You spent it all. We'll sell the house. We'll sell everything. The house you renovated with my money, the car you bought with my money, the furniture you purchased with my money? Yes, all of it. I look at Jacqueline. What do you think? Should we let them sell everything to pay me back before they go to prison? That's up to you, Jacqueline says, but the criminal charges stand regardless. They committed federal crimes. Wait, Dad says desperately. There has to be another way. We're family. Family, I repeat. You know what family does? Family doesn't steal your life savings when you're dying. Family doesn't plan your funeral while you're still alive. Family doesn't raise money for your memorial service and pocket the cash. We made mistakes, Mum pleads. You made choices. Every single transaction was a choice. Every forged signature was a choice. Every lie on social media was a choice. Ella suddenly stands up. This is insane. You can't do this to us. We're your family. You keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. We love you. You love my money. That's not true. Really? When's the last time any of you called to ask how I was feeling? When's the last time you visited without needing me to sign something? The room falls silent again. That's what I thought, I say. Jacqueline closes the folder. Abigail, it's your decision. We have enough evidence to prosecute. The question is whether you want to press charges. I look at my family. Mum, still crying. Dad, staring at his hands. Ella, defiant to the end. I want to press charges, I say. All of them. Abby, please, Mum begs. Think about what this will do to the family. I am thinking about it. I'm thinking about what you already did to this family. Jacqueline pulls out her phone. I'll call the field office. They can have agents here within the hour. Wait, Dad says. Just wait. Give us a chance to make this right. How? We'll figure something out. You've had months to figure something out. Instead, you planned my funeral. I walk to the window and look out at the parking lot. You know what the worst part is? I would have given you anything if you'd just asked. If you'd been honest about needing help, about wanting to renovate the house, about any of it. But instead, you chose to steal from me while I was dying. We thought we were helping, Mum whispers. You thought you were inheriting early. Jacqueline's phone buzzes. The agents are on their way. I turn back to face them. Every false tear you cried, every sympathy card you accepted, every dollar you stole, it all has a price, and today the bill comes due. The federal agents arrive exactly when Jacqueline said they would. Denise Grant, Lewis Grant, Ella Grant, you're under arrest for wire fraud, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, and conspiracy to commit fraud. The handcuffs click with a finality that echoes through the sterile room. Mum is still crying, but quietly now. Dad stares straight ahead like he's already planning his defense strategy. Ella keeps looking at me like she's waiting for me to call this whole thing off. I don't. You have the right to remain silent. As they're led away, Mum turns back one last time. Abby, please, don't let them destroy our family. You already did that, I say. The door closes behind them, and suddenly the room feels enormous. How do you feel? Jacqueline asks, packing up her files. Empty, satisfied, angry, relieved. I sit down in the chair Ella vacated. All of it at once. That's normal. Justice doesn't always feel the way we think it will. What happens now? Now they get processed, arraigned, probably released on bail. Their lawyers will try to work out plea deals. The house will be seized as proceeds of crime. The car too. Anything they bought with your money becomes evidence. And the money? Most of it's gone, but we'll recover what we can. The house should cover a good portion of what they stole. My phone buzzes. A text from Paige. Saw the news. Holy shit. Are you okay? The news. Of course it made the news. Local family arrested for defrauding dying daughter. The story writes itself. The media's going to have a field day with this, I say. Probably, but that's not your problem anymore. Jacqueline sits down across from me. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you regret it, pressing charges? I think about it for a moment. Ask me in a year. Right now I'm just glad they can't hurt anyone else. They won't. Cases like this follow people forever. Even if they avoid prison time, they'll never be able to get power of attorney over anyone again. Good. We sit in comfortable silence for a while. Outside, I can hear the news vans pulling up. I should probably get out of here before the reporters figure out which room I'm in, I say. Already handled. There's a back exit. My car is waiting. As we walk through the corridors, I catch glimpses of the news coverage on the waiting room TV. My family's mugshots flash across the screen while a reporter explains the charges. The anchor calls it a shocking betrayal of trust and every family's worst nightmare. They have no idea. Jacqueline drives me back to Seattle, where my real life is waiting. My apartment, my treatment team, my actual future. What will you do now? She asks as we pull up to my building. Keep getting better, go back to work eventually, figure out what normal looks like. And your family? What family? She nods like she understands. If you need anything, you have my number. Thank you for everything, for saving my life. You saved your own life. I just helped with the paperwork. That evening, I'm sitting in my apartment when Paige calls. I can't believe you've been in Seattle this whole time, she says. I was so worried. I'm sorry I lied. I had to. Are you kidding? You orchestrated the most epic takedown in family drama history. I'm impressed. It doesn't feel epic. It feels necessary. Same thing sometimes. We talk for an hour about everything and nothing. It feels good to have a real conversation with someone who actually cares about me. The next morning, I'm at my favourite coffee shop when I see him. Dad, sitting alone at a corner table, looking older than I've ever seen him. He spots me and walks over. Abby, can we talk? I don't think that's a good idea. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I nod toward the empty chair. Your mother's in the hospital, he says. Panic attacks. She can't stop crying. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Really? I consider the question. I'm sorry she's suffering. I'm not sorry she's facing consequences. She loves you. She loves what I represented. Security, money, status. That's not fair. Fair? I laugh, but there's no humour in it. Dad, you spent my treatment money on marble countertops. You planned my funeral while I was still alive. You forged my signature to steal from me. And you want to talk about fair? He stares into his coffee cup. We made mistakes. You made choices. Can you ever forgive us? The question hangs in the air between us. I think about forgiveness, about family, about the life I almost lost and the life I'm building now. I don't know, I say finally, but I know I can't trust you, and without trust, what's the point? He nods slowly, like he expected that answer. I hope someday you can understand that we thought we were doing the right thing. I understand perfectly. You thought I was going to die, so you decided to help yourselves to my money. The only thing you got wrong was the dying part. I stand up to leave. Abby, I turn back. I'm glad you're alive. So am I, Dad. So am I. I walk out of the coffee shop and into the Seattle morning. The air is crisp, the sky is clear, and for the first time in over a year, I feel completely free. My phone buzzes with a text from Dr. Rodriguez. Latest scans look great. See you next week. I smile and keep walking. Behind me, my old life crumbles under the weight of its own greed. Ahead of me, my new life stretches out like an open road. Sometimes karma needs a little push, but the bill always comes due. And I'm finally ready to collect.